Okay, solving multi-step equations. So equations that have more than two steps, more than one step really, is a multi-step, but we looked at two-step. So you could have many steps, and you just have to make sure you're following sound algebraic process. Okay. So many orders are permitted for solving multi-step equations. The main rule is that if you add, subtract, multiply, or divide one side, then you must do the same to the other. Okay, so whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. The goal is to solve for x, so you must isolate it to one side of the equation if it happens to be on both. All algebra must be done using the rules that have been done in this toolkit. Okay, so we're going to jump right into an example here. Expand the screen here so it's easier to see. Okay, so let's look at example 1. We want to solve 3x plus 7 equals x minus 5. Here we have x on both sides. So we want to get rid of it off one side. We can subtract that x away from that side. Okay, so subtract x from both sides and you get 2x, so 3x minus x is 2x plus 7 minus 5 on that side. Okay. Now we're going to subtract the 7 from both sides, so we have a two-step equation, right? Subtract 7 from both sides, and you get 2x equals negative 12. Now divide by 2, and you've got x equals negative 6. So that's one way of doing that question. Another way, instead of subtracting the x from both sides first, you could have done this method. Subtract 7 from both sides first. So you get 3x equals x minus 12. Then subtract x from both sides, then divide by 2, and you get this exact same answer. So like I said earlier, there's not just one way. Example 2. So 3x minus 9 equals 2x plus 3. So here you need to use the distributive law. You need to expand this out. 2x plus 2 times 3. Or you can divide both sides by 2. But since 2 doesn't divide evenly into 9 or 3, that's not going to be nice. So when we expand out that side, we still get 3x minus 9 on this side. We get 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. Now we're going to get the x's to one side, so we're going to isolate it to one side, so subtract 2x from both sides. 3x minus 2x is x minus 9, and this is just 6 now. Now we're going to add 9 to both sides, and you get x equal to 15. Okay. You can still do a check for these ones. Take a look at example 3. Example 3 here. We got brackets on both sides. So you need to expand both sides. 7 times 4, 7 times x. 5 times 2x, 5 times 3. Okay, so 28 minus 7x equals 10x plus 15 when you expand it. Now you got to get x to one side. I'm going to add 7x to both sides. It doesn't matter which side you move it to, you just need it on one side. So add 7x to both sides, that way I have a positive number in front of x. Okay, then I'm left with 28 equals 17x plus 15. I'm going to get rid of the 15 because I want to get x alone. And now I want to take that, 13 equals 17x, divide by 17, and the answer is not as nice as the other ones. X is 13 over 17. Okay, so that's the solution to that one. Now, here's another one. I keep getting a little bit harder. So negative 3 times 2x plus 3 plus 1. This plus 1 is outside the brackets. So when you distribute this in, you don't multiply the negative 3 times the 1. Okay? And then this one, this is subtracting polynomials. So let's expand that out. So negative 6x minus 9 plus 1 equals 2. The minus changes the signs of these. Okay. Now you're going to collect like terms in each one, simplify it. Negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And then you're going to add 6x to both sides, or add 3x to both sides. Doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm adding 6x to both sides because then I'll have a positive number in front of the x. When I get rid of that 2, so I'm doing 2 steps in 1 here. So now I know I'm going to have x on this side, so I want to get rid of the minus 2. So I'm cutting out some steps here, or combining steps. So I add 2 to both sides. Now I get negative 6 equals 3x. Divide by 3, x equals negative 2, and you can write it like this, x equals negative 2. Okay, so they're getting harder. Now let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so in this one, we've got basically 2 fractions. So x minus 7 over 3 equals 3x minus 5 over 2. Want to get rid of the 3 and the 2. You can do this all in one step by multiplying both sides by 3 and 2 at the same time, but I'm going to do it the longer way so you can see what exactly is happening. Okay, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Okay, when I do that, the 2 here goes away, but it doesn't go away from this side. So I multiply it into the top, and I leave it there. Okay, now I got to get rid of that 3 on the bottom. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. Okay. The 3's cancel out, but now this 3 multiplies in front of that. Now we have something that looks like the last couple of questions. Okay, so we now want to multiply these in. Okay, I do combining steps again. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, and then I'm going to add 15 to both sides, so I get x alone, and I get from that 1 equals 7x. Divide both sides by 7, and x equals 1/7. Now here's one that's got a lot of steps in it. Okay, so here's the question. There is a minus 3 in there that isn't involved in the fraction. We've got to be careful with that. Okay, we want to get rid of the 3 and the 4 on the bottom. So we can multiply both sides by 3 and then by 4, or by both at the same time. We're going to do it one step at a time. So multiply both sides by 3. Okay, the 3 goes away on this side. The 3, but that 3 also has to multiply into that middle piece, or this big piece here, but also has to multiply into this negative 3. Remember, you have to multiply 3 by the whole side, not just a piece of it. And that's a distributive law. So 3 times negative 3 is what you'd write here. That's a lot of people would miss that. Okay? And then this 3 can be multiplied by the 5 there in front, so you can write that as 15. 3 times 5 is 15. Now we want to get rid of the 4. Okay? So we're going to multiply both sides by 4. Okay? So the 4 here cancels out. 4 here gets multiplied by both pieces. Okay? So 4 times 2 is 8 in front of there. 4 times negative 9, negative 36. Okay? Now we're going to expand these brackets. 8 times 2, 16. 8 times 4 is 32, minus 36. 15 times x, 15x. 15 times 3 is 45. Collect like terms. Negative 32 minus 36 is negative 68. This stays the same. Now I'm going to do 2 steps in 1. I'm going to subtract 15x from both sides, and I'm going to add 68 to both sides. Okay? And when you do that, 16x minus 15x is just x. This becomes 113. There's the answer. And here is a check for that question. How long it could look. Okay? You can pause the video and write that down if you need.